Hello, students, and welcome back to Mr. Sandwich Reads. I am, of course, Mr. Sandwich, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 17 of The King of Mulberry Street by Donna Napoli. This chapter is called Things Go Wrong. So I may have mentioned in my last posting in chapter 16 that as you follow a story arc, and especially next time you're watching a movie, you pay attention to this, usually at the end of every scene, and usually this is true for every chapter of a book, the main character is either going to be better off or worse off, and that is usually true. That's always true, I would say, of a story, of a book. That's what makes a story worth watching, right? Is the you're invested in, is this character going to be better off or worse off? That kind of goes back to ancient Greece and Greek tragedy or Greek comedy. You may be familiar with like the sad face, the pouty face, and the smiley face in drama. And it used to be that there were really two main genres, which would be tragedy or comedy. And that was really based on, is the main character going to be better off? Life is improved. Things are good. You feel good at the end. It's a comedy. Everybody's lighthearted. Or, and usually it would be usually in a tragedy, they're going to be worse off. Usually it's their own doing. That's kind of what makes a tragedy tragic, is like the person did it to themselves. It could have been avoided, but bad judgment, mistakes were made, and they're worse off. So something to look for, and that's true. That's built into like every scene of a movie. You could look at, is this character doing better or worse at the beginning of the scene? And then that kind of builds the entire story, and are they better off or worse off? We're going to find out in The King of Mulberry Street, and we're getting kind of close here to the end, if you've been following along. Remember, Dom's goal is really to get back to Napoli, get back to Mama. Let's find out if that's true. At the end of chapter 16, things were looking up. Business was good. They were getting word of mouth. People were recommending their sandwiches. He gets a penny from Gaetano to check his shoes back in the baggage. He's going to Central Park for the night. But he's kind of getting used to his new routine here. So we'll jump in. Oh, by the way, today the day I'm shooting this, you can see, let's see if I have my date up here. It's February 16th. And today is LeVar Burton's birthday. And you might say, well, who's LeVar Burton? Well, if you ever watched Star Trek The Next Generation, I don't know, go ask mom and dad or aunt, uncle, teacher if they ever watched. But Geordie LaForge, she wore a visor over his eyes. But I want to give a shout out to LeVar Burton because he also had a show in like the 90s called Reading Rainbow, which really was like kind of an influence for Mr. Sandwich, because he would kind of do little quick book shares, and he would kind of, each episode was based on a theme that went along with a book, and it was really to promote literature, or literacy, I should say, a love of reading for young people. So I wanted to just start today with a quick shout out to LeVar Burton. Today is his, I want to say, 64th birthday, February 16th. So check out Reading Rainbow if you get a chance. Try, I don't know, YouTube. It's got to be on YouTube. Maybe I'll try to find that and share that out. So LeVar Burton, love him, love Reading Rainbow. And let's do some reading of our own. Chapter 17, Things Go Wrong. This is on page 171. We'd made a whole $1.75. It was like the difference between the sun and the moon, as Uncle Aurelio said. Getting rich in America was easy after all. By my calculations, even after setting aside sandwiches for ourselves, including Grandinetti, on Wednesday, we'd still have 24 to sell. I went to sleep as happy as anyone curled under a bush in Central Park could be. But at lunchtime, Wednesday, it poured in a burst. By the time we managed to take cover under an awning, the top layers of sandwiches in our basket were soaked through so bad the bread was coming apart. The bottom and side sandwiches were a little soggy. Only 4 sandwiches from the middle were perfect. Ugh, nobody likes a soggy sandwich. We threw away the bread from the soaked sandwiches and ate the inside at breakfast. Gaetano wanted to do the same with the soggy ones, too. Sell the soggy ones for 10 cents each, said Tin Pan Alley. The secretaries can buy them. At least we can come away with something. That's mook thinking, said Gaetano. If we sell a lousy product, we ruin our reputation. You think you sound like some kind of hotshot talking like that, said Tin Pan Alley. Hold on, I turned to Tin Pan Alley. You were the one who said people have to trust food vendors. They trust us so far. If we sell bad stuff, we lose that. Tin Pan Alley blinked. Are you on his side now? All I want is to sell sandwiches. Wet sandwiches won't bring us more customers. They're not that wet. Tin Pan Alley spat on the ground. He wouldn't look at us. Okay, then, give them to me, pig, said Gaetano. We'll split them equally. You can each take two, one for lunch and one for dinner, but I get the rest. Tin Pan Alley was the skinniest of us, but still. You're going to get sick, I said. I want them. Gaetano crossed his arms at his chest. All right, go puke, but only if we don't have to put money in your cup today. Deal, said Tin Pan Alley. I'll go patrol, said Gaetano. It's okay today, all day long. My padrone went to Staten Island. I overheard him tell someone. So we sold the 4 good sandwiches, then left Tin Pan Alley with 6 soggy ones. Gaetano and I walked toward 5 Points. We had soggy sandwiches in our pockets, and I had the day's earnings in my fist, a whole $1, plus the penny I'd already borrowed from Gaetano for baggage check that night. But about halfway to Grandinetta's, I stopped. You think he'll make 80 cents by the end of today? That's his problem. He's our partner. You even said so. So his problems are our problems. How do we really know he's our partner? Said Gaetano. Maybe he's not going to eat himself sick. Maybe he's selling those sandwiches right now. You know he isn't. Gaetano smirked. You'll never be a shark. You know that, Dom? You can do the numbers, but you don't have a head for business. He held out his hand with a resigned look on his face. I gave Gaetano 75 cents in the basket to return to Grandinetti. Then I ran back to put 25 in Tin Pan Alley's cup. He wasn't on his corner. I crossed the street and walked slowly up and down the blocks, listening for his triangle. I never heard him. When I got to Chatham Square, I saw a boy sitting on a curb ravenously eating a sandwich, one of our soggy ones. He had a small harp wedged under his knees and a tin cup between his feet. He was the boy I talked to before, the one with the welts. I thought of beggar boys all over town eating soggy sandwiches and feeling like some spirit had blessed them. Manicello's good counterpart. Nona would have loved Tin Pan Alley. Before I could think twice, I dropped the 25 cents in the boy's cup. He gaped at me. Then he quick tucked the cup between his belly and his knees and went back to eating. It felt rotten to go to sleep on Wednesday with less money than the night before. We were going backward fast. 1,000 sandwiches. How would we ever sell that many? How would I ever make enough money to get home? I thought of how Mama used to stand at the window and wave to me when I go somewhere with Uncle Aurelio. I felt like she was waving to me that night, waving and calling. Only I was too far away to see or hear her. I had to fight to get back to her. Thursday went okay, so okay, in fact, that at the end of the day, we each kept a dime for ourselves. Friday was the same, no thieves or rain, no padrone. The only trouble we had was with the price. Tin Pan Alley would say it clearly, and men who were alone generally paid up, especially if they had suits on. But when there were 2 men together, or when someone was buying a few sandwiches at once, they gave us a bunch of coins and left fast. The faster they left, the less it turned out they paid for each sandwich. And women generally paid less too, though usually they bargained. That was okay, though. After all, no one but the top guys could really afford 25 cents. It was either give a few breaks or lose customers. Still, by the end of the lunch crowd on Friday, even after putting the money in Tin Pan Alley's cup, we had $3.60. Think how many sandwiches we can buy tomorrow, said Gaetano. It's going to be a good week after all. The week is over, I said. No work on Saturday. But Saturday's a work day, Gaetano said. Then he stopped. I could use a day off. So that's part of Dom's Jewish faith is practicing the Sabbath and not working from sundown on Friday through sunset on through sundown on Saturday. So Saturday's a day off. It's the Sabbath. So part of his Judaism, along with the kosher diet, we may remember from previous chapters. So that's why he doesn't work. Gaetano kind of starts to question it, but then is like, whatever, I could use a day off. Do we think Gaetano is starting to pick up that Dom is hiding his Judaism, or is he just not care and he's just looking for a day off if Dom says so? I don't know. We'll see. Tin Pan Alley didn't say anything. I wondered if he ever got a day off. $1 a week for a couple of hours work a day, not bad. Hand over the money, said Gaetano. I'm about to buy me a steak. $1.20 each, said Tin Pan Alley, putting out his hand too. Hold on, I clamped my hands down on both pockets. We need something to start next week with. A quarter, said Gaetano. That's what we started this week with. Just listen, I said. If we each take only 20 cents now, we can eat okay Saturday and Sunday, and we'll still have $3 whole to start Monday with. There's no telling how much money we can make next week if we start with that much. I was already counting the sandwiches we could sell. Why, Monday alone, if luck was on our side, we could eat and still sell 44 sandwiches. That couldn't be so. I did the numbers again. Tin Pan Alley was staring off into the distance. When he turned to me, he nodded, and I knew he'd done the numbers too. We could do a word problem on this. Let's see. If they have $3, they're buying 12 times more than they usually do. And then they split that into 4. What's that? 48. And then they all eat a piece of sandwich with Gran and Eddie. Yeah, 44. I think it sounds right. Don't count on my mouth skills. This is not Mr. Sandwich Does Math. But it seems like Tin Pan Alley got the same numbers. This is just good business, I said reasonably. And you're both out of your minds, said Gaetano. What's the point of working all the time and never having any fun? Give me my money. You'll make a lot more by the end of next week, said Tin Pan Alley almost in a whisper. How much more? Tons, I said. Come on, guys, Gaetano crossed his arms. 20 cents is too little to have any real fun. We have to take at least 50 each. His feet were spread. He was ready for battle. I thought about it. Okay, that'll leave us $2.10. The extra 10 cents won't buy a sandwich. We can put it in Tin Pan Alley's cup. Tin Pan Alley's eyes shot open wide. I didn't ask for it. You have to work this weekend. We don't. The first thing I did with my money was pay back Gaetano the 3 cents I'd borrowed to check my shoes. Then I set aside 7 more cents to pay for my shoes for the next week. I spent the weekend in Central Park eating popcorn and meat on sticks. 40 cents went a long way. Monday, we discovered the problem with buying $2 worth of sandwiches. Once we cut them and wrapped them up nice, the basket couldn't hold them all. So Gaetano carried the basket with most of them, and I carried an armful. When we got to the bottom of Mulberry Street, I dropped one. Gaetano was already crossing the street, and he didn't see. I could pick it up fast and wipe off the paper, and no one would know the difference. I shifted the others to one arm, reached down with my free hand, and dropped 2 more. A dog appeared out of nowhere and ran off with one. Then something knocked me from behind, and my chin smacked hard on the sidewalk. I rolled over in time to see the 2 thieves make off with the rest of my sandwiches. By the time I caught up to Gaetano, he was halfway down the next block. What happened? Where are the sandwiches? A dog got one, and the 2 thieves got the others. I guess your big brother isn't protecting you anymore. Sure he is. He's just not protecting you. You have to stay by my side or they can get you. He cocked his head at me. Cheer up. We've still got a basket full to sell. Find some paper in that pile of trash and wipe off your chin. No one's going to buy from a bleeding kid. While Gaetano patrolled the area, Tin Pan Alley and I sold 23 sandwiches, clearing $4.60 after putting 25 in Tin Pan Alley's cup. A great day. Gaetano put out his hand. $1, right now. We agreed to go another week. We doubled our money in one day. I want my $1. I threw up my hands and let them slap to my sides. If everything went just right, if everyone paid us 25 cents, and if we sold every sandwich, our money wouldn't just double in a day. It would grow by, I thought, 4 times. The numbers were staring me in the face. We've got to keep the money in there till the end of the week. That was the fastest way to get to 1,000 sandwiches. Oh, all right, Gaetano crossed his arms. Give me 20 cents. On Tuesday, we bought 16 long sandwiches. Pirano's eyes, with a sandwich maker, Pirano's eyes practically popped out of his head. He gave me a breakfast pastry and one for Gaetano too, who was out on the sidewalk looking in through the window. When I dared to mention we worked with a third guy, Pirano dropped another pastry in the bag. Once we cut the sandwiches, we were way past the bushel basket. We were way past what the bushel basket could hold. We begged Grand and Andy to lend us his one-wheeled hand cart. He wasn't happy about it, but so long as we got it back to him by 3 o'clock with the towel, it was okay. And he smiled when we gave him a sandwich. Gaetano pushed the cart and I walked beside him. The mound of sandwiches under the towel was impressive, more than 60. I watched it proudly. Mama, here I come. At the bottom of Mulberry Street, I was on the lookout for the dog and the two thieves. They weren't around, but 4 little boys, the oldest couldn't have been more than 6, came up begging. They had on nothing but short pants. I tried to shoo them away. Gaetano bumped the cart down the curb and crossed the street as though they weren't there. As he was maneuvering the cart up the other curb, one of the urchins pulled off the towel, and they all grabbed sandwiches with both hands and ran back through the traffic across the street. I raced after them, but they split up. I ran back to Gaetano. You didn't catch any of them? He practically shouted. I didn't want to leave you alone with no one to help you guard the cart. Yeah, like you're some big help. Gaetano pushed the cart fast, his bottom lip thrust forward. We've still got gobs to sell, I said. But he fumed all the way to Wall Street. Tin Pan Alley ate the pastry from Pirano's, while Gaetano went on and on about what a mess I'd made of things, his temples pulsing. Why are you so mad? I finally said. You didn't act like this when the thieves jumped me yesterday. This is a lot worse, you mook. When those Scugnizzi tell all the other Scugnizzi we're easy targets, we'll be mobbed every morning. So let's just tell the Scugnizzi about your big brother. You think they don't know? Those kids listen to everything. But you see, big brothers don't beat up Scugnizzi. They're too little. My padrone doesn't care how old someone is, Tin Pan Alley said. He beats anyone. Exactly, said Gaetano. A padrone is the lowest of the low. My big brother is honorable. His big brother, who didn't even exist. Gaetano stomped off, scowling, to patrol the area, while Tin Pan Alley and I waited for the lunch crowd to come trickling out of the buildings. But today they rushed, and they didn't give us a second glance. A woman who'd been our customer twice before scurried past with a cloth sack full of small banners on sticks. What's going on? I asked Tin Pan Alley. He ran after the woman, and they talked. When Gaetano realized something was wrong, he joined me at the cart. Tin Pan Alley came back, his face stricken. It's Flag Day. Never heard of it, said Gaetano. It's celebrating the country. You mook, Independence Day's not till July. You're the mook. It's Flag Day. Some new thing. The woman said so. Everyone's going to the public schools to see their kids march in a parade holding little flags. Do you know where the schools are? I asked Gaetano. Gaetano smirked. Around here? What do you think? It doesn't matter anyway, said Tin Pan Alley. Lunch is part of the celebration. We watched as more customers went on by. Gaetano kicked the sidewalk. So what are we supposed to do with all this food? Not everyone has kids. I took the handles and pushed the cart a few steps. Let's go door to door to the little businesses. I pass tons of them on the way to Central Park every night. No one's going to pay what Wall Street pays, said Tin Pan Alley. The rest of the world is poor. So let them pay less, said Gaetano. Otherwise, the whole day is a flop. And since you, he pointed at me, and you, he pointed at Tin Pan Alley, wouldn't let us keep back any of yesterday's profits, that means goodbye business. He grabbed the cart handles for me and rolled back toward 5 Points. Come on, he called over his shoulder. I can't leave, said Tin Pan Alley. My padrone. Gaetano stopped and turned around with a bulldog face. We need you to speak English. Get over here. Tin Pan Alley didn't move. Sandwiches, I said in English, the best in town. Please, Tin Pan Alley said to me in English. What's that mean? It's a good word. When you walk into a store, begin with please and end with thank you. It's good words to know in any language, right? I knew what thank you meant. Please, I said, thank you. I gave Tin Pan Alley 2 sandwiches, one for lunch, one for dinner, but I didn't have any coins to put in his cup. Gaetano and I rolled up the street. We stopped in every little store we passed, all the way to Chatham Square. Then we went around the edge of 5 Points to avoid the Scugnizzi, and back along Canal Street. Then north along the route I took to the train station. It was well past lunchtime when we stopped to eat. We'd sold all but 10 sandwiches, most for 10 cents, but sometimes we were lucky and got 15. I chewed on a cheese sandwich and looked over at the last ones on the cart. My heart fell. What do we do with the rest? If I have to eat another of these sandwiches for dinner, said Gaetano, I'll puke. He jammed the rest of his in his mouth. I dreamed of sandwiches last night. I believed him. I had too. We could give them away. No one would take them. They'd figure there was something wrong with them. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. So we kept hawking, even though it was the middle of the afternoon. We sold 2 more. Then I told Gaetano about what Tin Pan Alley had done with the soggy sandwiches the Wednesday before, and we walked around putting sandwiches in the cups of beggar boys. Once we finally counted our money, we had $5.15. Gaetano moved close to me and hunched over so no one could see what was in his hands. He counted the money again, then he stuck it in his pocket. I can't believe it. I can't believe it yesterday when it grew so fast. But today, with everything that went wrong, it should have gone down to nothing. We started the morning with a ton of sandwiches, Gaetano. We couldn't wind up empty-handed. But this isn't how money works, Gaetano shook his head. I know what you said yesterday, all that stuff about quadrupling. But that isn't how money works, really. If you make $1 one day, you make another $1 the next, not 5. He patted the outside of his pocket. You really think this will keep up? He whispered. If we buy more sandwiches each day, we'll make more money than the day before. Lots more. We can't sell more sandwiches. There aren't enough customers at Tin Pan Alley's corner on a regular day. You're right. Pretty soon we can save some of our money. Or spend it. Right. We'd sell 1,000 sandwiches in no time. The money was coming in, and I'd spend mine on documents and a ticket before long. All right. So even though it's called Things Go Wrong, they make the best out of that situation. And Dom is optimistic here that he's going to be able to get the documents and the tickets he needs to return home to Napoli. What do you think? Predictions? Do you think it's going to go that way? Also, a little bit of a character assessment question regarding character and characterization. Gaetano says you wouldn't make a good businessman because he doesn't have the street smarts. Do you think that's true of Dom? Do you think Dom could do this alone? What traits does Dom have that does help the business? I think in this he crunches the numbers and he kind of understands that if we have more inventory, if we have more supply, as long as the demand is there, we can just keep selling more sandwiches. Like if we put our money and what we make towards more sandwiches, we keep selling them. As long as, Flag Day, there was a holiday that they didn't account for, they didn't know about. The rain hits them the other day. So there's these variables that kind of get in the way of the business growing, but they continue to produce more sandwiches with the more they make, and they keep selling them. Can the business keep growing? Will they make enough for Dom to get the documents and get the ticket to get back home? All right, let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed. Keep following along with the King of Mulberry stream. Take it easy. Hope you're well.